Sister Mariah, any thoughts?
Yeah, I wonder if Job is like asking them, like, do you hear what I'm saying? You know, it's not that I'm not saying that I am too good for X, Y, and Z, and I'm telling you that I have done nothing. And it's like they can almost not hear what it is that he's saying, and he's asking them, like, just be a friend, like, you know. And I'm sure in his good times, they were very encouraging and saying, you know, the most comforting things. And in the time that he needed it most, where were they, kind of thing, you know?
Right.
And it truly is truly saddening because the fact that this is the only one of the ways that they can comfort him. Okay, good job, baby.
Yep. Yeah, here's interesting, because this verse is really a heavy verse for me, verse 14, because he says that you should be showing me pity because I'm afflicted. But because you are not, this is indicative that you have forsaken the reverence of the Almighty. Job is giving basically a Bible lesson. He's giving him a lesson. He's going to listen. The situation here is that I am in this afflicted condition. And so, and the fact that you are not responding to it the way you ought to is demonstrable. It is demonstrable that you are operating apart from the fear of God. Job is telling them that their understanding about God is off. This is what he's telling them. Now, Job doesn't know what his own situation is, but he knows this about God. He knows how he would be. These guys end up later on acknowledging all the things that Job did in the community. And so he is in that mindset. Even in his own sorrowful condition, he is providing instruction. He's saying, you are not exhibiting fear of God. If you did, you would show me mercy. You would have mercy on me. You would show me pity. And see, so many people, all they want to do is pounce. The minute they think in their mind something is wrong with you, all they want to do is pounce so that they can feel better about themselves. There's certain people that think they are the rebuking police, the rebuke police. Their job is to go around and just rebuke everybody. And they think that's some kind of a ministry. There are people that really believe this nonsense. That it's a gift that God gave them. It's a gift of discernment that allows them to tell you that you are living in sin. And so they go around trying to point out flaws, find flaws. And I mean, looking for them so that they can rip you to shreds. Like brother said, looking for gotcha moments. They find one little thing. Oh, this is it. That means that the whole kit and caboodle is wrong. Brother man of God, go ahead.
Well, I want to give kudos to my sister Hannah, because in the comments here, she said that.
Saw that. Yep.
Yeah, I'll bring it out to everybody else. I'll reinforce it, because she said he didn't call them, they came. And that immediately put in my mind that, yeah, I think they came all right. They were going to kind of comfort him. But I think what it was is they saw a change in the guard, and they thought they'd come in and sort of, kind of take over and show everybody how wise, because there were probably other people around too, walking by on the road, maybe, hanging around, see what's going on. People like to see suffering, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, how many people, and you'll all say this, you're on the interstate and the traffic slowed down and you're creeping by and there's a big accident, but it's on the other side of the highway. and everybody's slowing down because they want to see if they can see some blood or gore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just makes me crazy. It's like, it's not on our side. Keep going.
You know, that's a good analogy, because that is exactly how people are. With like in even in Christian circles, and it's sad. It's sad. It's like they want to find somebody they can pounce on. They want to find somebody they can pounce on, and they want to see a train wreck. They do, like you said, Brother Jeff. That's what they want to see. They want to see that. Brother Kanan, go ahead.
On the other hand, I was going to talk about how we should bear one another's burdens and thereby fulfill the law of Christ found in Galatians 6:2. And then we have also in 1 Corinthians 12:26, which says, and if one part of the body suffers, all the parts suffer with it. If a part is dishonored, all the parts rejoice with it. Mm-hmm. And so something to keep in mind with our brothers and sisters is if they're going through difficult times, that we should go and, like you were saying earlier, to put ourselves in their shoes, to do what we're prompted to do, whether that is fasting, or if that is praying, or if that is being there for them, whatever it looks like, because each person is different and each calling and prompting by the Spirit is going to look a little bit different, but it's still going to show and reveal the same fruits. Those are the things that we should be embracing. And I think sometimes things like fasting are neglected in our walk because we don't want to be uncomfortable, or to be in the presence of somebody who is dealing with a terminal diagnosis or something like that, that some people say that's difficult to be around. And while that may be true, we are called to a higher standard, and we also have that demonstrated by Christ. And so we need to remember to do those things, because that's part of what we are called to do as brothers and sisters, and not only be part of what feels good all the time or what looks good. Or there's going to be a lot of dark with the light, but we know how the story ends. We know where Satan and his followers are going, and we know that we will reign eternally with Christ forever. But while we are here, while life is short, we have an extremely important duty, not only to other believers, but the situations you're talking about, that you see people going in and correcting and rebuking and going in with their minds already made up. They're not really seeking or asking questions to have understanding and to have a spirit that wants to find agreeance. Our hearts should break for those people, and we really should try to find the moments in time that we can give them pearls of wisdom for them to go seek the Lord with. And obviously discernment comes in hand with that. But we really need to be patient and loving on these people, but also, depending on the situation, to be gruff, but also with strategic responses, because there's a lot of hate, and there's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of arguing. But we have to remember what's fruitful and what God has called us to, and to be in self-control and not all over the place.
That's right. Amen, brother. Joni and then Meg, and then I'll get to verse 15. Joni, go ahead.
So what kind of friends are they? Meaning, how does Job actually know them? Are they Pharisees? What we would call?
No, we don't really know that. We just know that they were friends, and that they've known each other for a while. And so they definitely have some kind of affiliation. And these guys heard about what happened to Job, and they set an appointment, as what the scripture says, to come and visit him. And that's all we know.
So they would be like elders of the church or something. That's what I feel like. And they just came and beat him up. Yeah. In today's, the way we see the church. Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It becomes. I don't think it has anything to do with the church at all. I think this has to do with basic directives from the Lord Jesus Christ to show love to brethren. I mean, they were friends, and that's what we take away from this whole thing. These guys were supposed to be his friends, and they were supposed to come in and bring comfort, right. and so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how
they hurt him more, and that's why I'm saying the church. They hurt him, they injured him, instead of comforting him, and how often does that happen within the church is what I'm saying.
That's right.
And it does.
Yep.
It does.
It does.
And most people, I bet, how many people on this panel and in the comment section have been hurt by the church? If you haven't, raise your hand.
Here's the thing. Like what we refer to as a church, I mean, for whatever reason, and this is just a sidebar for a second, I have seen so many, like there's a guy whose whole profile is church bashing. His whole profile, every single video is church bashing. There are so many people, their whole mission is to bash churches. But here's the problem. And they start telling you about the buildings and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that there's not truth to that. But the church is individuals.
That's right. It's the people.
It's the people. Mm-hmm. So that building that you're going to has
I wasn't referring to that.
No, I'm not saying you are, Joan. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general.
Right.
But the church has nothing to do, the church at large has nothing to do with how individuals behave. And so this is what we should learn out of Job, sister. And that is that when if everyone else is going to be reluctant to exercise a compassionate demeanor to someone who's going through affliction, if no one else is going to do that, then we should.
That's right.
Then we should, and I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
I know that I have had friends over the years, especially in the jobs I've done. So maybe not friends, but a lot of people would have treated them way different than I would have, than I did.
Right.
And that's because I treated them like people. And some people thought of them as a number. I got to do this, I got to do that, get these forms filled out, and away they go. And they never even listened to them. Right.
Well, I'll say something else too. One last thing, then I'll move on. But one last thing is, sometimes, as strange as this may seem, some people who are not the most accommodating people to deal with when you're going through affliction, sometimes these people have no clue how much of a pain in the rear end that they are. And see, this is another important lesson about Job's friends. These guys, they double down. They don't respond in kind to what Job is saying. They double down. Nope, Job. Nope. That's not the issue. You're deflecting. Job. Your problem is sin. Come out with it. And see, you have an element of people that no matter how much somebody tells you you're a pain in the butt, you don't see it. And this is the worst kind of a miserable comforter. The worst kind. Mm-hmm. Because they believe that they are doing the right thing, and they have no idea that they are like a porcupine. They, no matter, when they hug you or when they come to you, you're being pierced through by their flesh, by how they are conducting themselves. And these are the worst kind of people because they can't be corrected. These are the kind of people that can't be corrected, no matter what.
Old school says, hurt people hurt people. True, and that is so true.
It's true.
And the people that are the hurt people hurting others, they don't know they're hurt. They don't know they're broken.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, let you go.
No problem, brother. Sister Meg, and then man of God. Then I'm going to get to verse 15. Hopefully,
you will. I want us to think about for a second, like, when the start of all of this happened, Job's friends got together, they left where they were, and they came to him.
Right.
So, what's really funny to me about all of it is is that Job's friends were loyal.
Yep.
Until he needed them the most.
Yep.
Until he needed them in their responses that they gave. And true loyalty is tested when we're going through something like this, because it can start off good. And so, like, when you were talking about on that verse, you know, I feel like Job was saying, like, you're supposed to be my friends. You owe me, as my friends, compassion during my suffering, basically, probably as I would give to you. But you guys who claim to know God have withheld that kindness from me. And in doing so, you have abandoned the fear of the Almighty.
You know,
And so what I see it as, it's a rebuke. Not only is it a rebuke of their theology, it's a rebuke of their character and who they are. Because instead of wanting to comfort them, they would rather interpret based off their theology what he's going through, instead of comforting him. And how many times do we do that?
right.
In reflecting about ourselves. It's just crazy to me.
Right. I mean, you'll see that Job kind of deals with that a little bit too when he gets to verse 22, because he says in verse 22, he goes, did I ask you to bring me anything? Did I ask to give a reward for me out of your substance? He's going, look, I didn't ask you for anything. But he's saying this, I didn't ask you to bring stuff. I didn't ask you to bring me any treats, any food. I didn't ask you to bring me blankets. I didn't ask you to bring me anything. All I want is for you to do is to show me compassion, show me comfort. And he acknowledges, I didn't ask you for any of your substance. I didn't ask you to bring me anything. I didn't ask you for anything monetary, nothing. All I'm asking for you to do is to be the friend to me that the Lord has taught us to be to one another. This is what he's at. He's calling them all. Job is in all of his trial. He's calling them on this whole thing, and it's an amazing thing that he's doing. I mean, so you see, like I said earlier, you see this combination of this tremendous human weakness that he's going through right now and experiencing, combined with this spiritual resilience. He's holding his ground. He's holding his ground, and not in a prideful, arrogant way. Brother Jeff, man of God, go ahead. Brother Jeff, you there?
A minute, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought my mic was on, but I guess maybe I'm not supposed to speak. I don't know. The concept of ecclesia, the being called out, and I've been hurt by church. You know, I'm not even going to go there. But the point is that it reminds us, and even then they didn't have scriptures, but it reminds us that as Christians, we are under a church, maybe a physical church body with certain rules that we decide to sit under for whatever reason. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is to be in the Word. And, I found it helpful for myself. And in terms of dealing with suffering, I can't tell you how many dying people I've had to talk to over the years.
Right.
And you can't just go there, it's going to be better. I mean, that doesn't work. And, but the point is that we need to look back to our Lord Jesus Christ. Right. Because Jesus took people that were in blatant sin. Everybody agreed they'd sinned. Like the woman caught in adultery. Of course, the man, it always grinds my gears that the man wasn't. He was probably in the crowd. That's probably where he was.
Right.
But anyway, that he didn't condemn her. He didn't say, well, why'd you do that? I mean, did you not get along with your own husband? Blah, 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 and all this stuff. He just showed her compassion. And the thing is, I can't be Christ, but I can strive to be like him.
That's right. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So in verse 15, Job goes on and he says, my brethren, he's calling them out. Listen to what he says. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook and as a stream of brooks, they pass away. So here's what he's saying. So, a lot of people live in places where you have stream or brooks or rivers or whatever that, they at certain times of the year, they flood. And then other parts of the year, they sort of dry up. Yeah, like Lisa said, they're here today, gone tomorrow. This is what he's saying about his friends. He's saying that he's telling them you're like a seasonal stream. Your words were flowing. Your goodness was flowing when everything was good. But when I need you the most, you're all dried up like a brook in a stream out of season. He's telling them you don't know how to address the situation and having an understanding of the season that I'm going through. I'm going through a season of affliction, and you are supposed to be my stream and my brook, and you have dried up. You're not satisfying the thirst that I have. You're not able to wash over me to help me find refreshment while I'm going through this extremity of suffering and affliction. This is what he's saying. He's calling his boys out. He said, listen, you have missed the mark. When I needed you to be a river, a stream, a brook, when I needed that, you came to me like a river out of season, a bed of water that has dried up. It's not there. Meg, go ahead.
So in that verse, when it says, my brothers have dealt deceitfully as a brook. So Job didn't call them his friends. He called them his brothers.
Yeah, his brethren, yeah.
But when it says, if have dealt deceitfully, if we go down to Hosea chapter 6, verse 7, listen to what it says. It says, but they, like Adam, transgressed the covenant. There they dealt treacherously against me. It's the same verbiage.
Right.
It's like it's like a covenant that was broken. He uses it like that fully in the way that his friends did that.
Right. He did. I mean, he's not, Job is not only, it's not that he's not only disappointed, because he's disappointed, but he also feels like he's being betrayed. Like Lisa said, they kicked him when he's down. He feels that these guys, it's like, who needs friends if this is what you do? That's kind of where he's at right now. He is so, they look like, and they felt like, and he thought that they would be these sources of consolation and refreshing. Why he uses brook and stream. Brooks and stream water, they provide refreshing. And so he's saying, where is that? That's what I need from you. But you've dried up. And he feels betrayed. You were empty when I needed your comfort the most. And I got to say, we are learning from what we are here learning now, the 21st century. Job is instructing us in these passages. He's instructing us on how we ought to conduct ourselves. And remember, he said that the type of a conduct that these men are exhibiting shows a lack of fear and reverence for God. Job is telling them, what you're doing, you're not just doing to me. You are doing this to God. You are showing a lack of fear of the Lord. And this is the guy who is the one that is being troubled. Sister Angie, what do you think, sister?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. They don't know,
You're breaking up, sister.
you
Her
Okay.
signal's weak. You can see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. I can't. Okay, Andrew, we'll get back to you because you're breaking up really bad. We can't hear you. All right. So yeah, he's and he picks it up again in verse 16. Because after he talks about, I lost my place in the word. Let me see. So after he talks about the brethren dealing deceitfully with him, and he talks about the streams and the brooks, they just pass away, and he's likening that unto his friends. And then he talks about them again. He says, which are blackish by reason of the ice, and wherein the snow is hid. So these brooks, they, in the wintertime, they have all this melting ice where they sort of hide the snow, more or less, and then they appear later to flow with the full force, And he wants his friends to be like that, but they're not that way. They're not that way. And he makes them akin to like black ice. It's like, this is not, you're not helping me. And so they, even though they appeared to be the, what do you call those things that where water is caught and stored? What do you call, huh? What do you call those what do you call those things that they keep water in?
A
Cisterns.
cistern?
No, a reservoir.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reservoir. Yeah. He's telling them, I expected you to be like this reservoir of kindness and wisdom, gentleness and compassion. He wants to know where that is. And he's telling them, you dried up. Our friendship that we had before made me believe that I had warranted expectations that I could reasonably count on you to possess as I would to you in the same situation. But I'm not getting that. It looks like that it should be there, but it's not. I'm not benefiting from it if it is. And it's such a hard time to go through this when you have no friends, no one supporting you. Children gone, wife wants you to curse God, and now your three friends who are supposed to be basically, in terms of their understanding of God, on the same level. So you got his religious friends, his brethren, as he calls them. They shortchanging him. Candy and then Canaan.
I was just going to say that they're like seeking validation for themselves instead of the well-being of their friend.
I think you're right. Brother Canaan?
I got one verse, and then I want to ask a question tying into what you were just saying. Check this out. Jeremiah 15:18 says, "Why has my pain been endless and my wound incurable, refusing to be healed? Will you indeed be to me like a deceptive stream with water that is unreliable?" And my question would be,
what verse was that, brother? Hold on. What verse is that again?
Jeremiah 15:18.
Great verse. 15:18. I got to write that in my notes for the next time. I love that. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So again, will you indeed be to me like a deceptive stream with water that is unreliable? My question is this: as followers of Christ, brothers and sisters, are we a deceptive stream that is unreliable? Meaning, are we unreliable with edifying, building up, pouring out truth, reflecting Christ? Or do we deviate in this in some way, shape, or form in our walk? And if we do, how are we addressing it? And second, are we a consistent stream of reliable love, patience, all the fruits of the Spirit when the time is needed, depending on the situation, and being led by the Holy Spirit?
Wow. That's a good one. Jeremiah 15:18. I'm gonna that's a good one, brother. Appreciate that. So verse 17, he says, What time they wax warm, they vanish. When it is hot, they are consumed out of their place. So again, he's keeping on with this whole theme. In verse 18, he says, the paths of their way are turned aside, and they go to nothing and perish. But when he's talking about the waxing warm and they vanish when it is hot, they are consumed out of their place. So he continues this whole idea dealing with these seasonal waters which disappear at the very moment they're needed the most. And he's saying this about his friends. That's what you are. You're like waters that have dried up when I needed the refreshment that you could have provided to me. That's what he's asking for. And so, and so, you know, he talks about like how when he talks about the warm, you know, when the water gets warm, he's talking about how it evaporates and it just leaves this dry bed. And he's saying to them in so many words, that's what you are. A stream that is dried up, where all the water has evaporated. You can provide me no refreshment, and this is the time where I need it the most. And he's not getting it. And so their failure is not just, you know, their failure to comfort Job is not just weakness, but it's like they eat, like it's like even when they're there in front of him, he feels deserted by them, if that makes sense. You know how you could be around somebody and they're not really, there's an expression that people use, not present. You know, somebody can be right in front of you.
So close, but yet so far away.
Yeah. You know, they're
earlier in the thing.
Yeah. They're not present. You know, they're not really trying to help you resolve you. And all they want to do, like we said before, is tear people down. Sister Lisa, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I was thinking about what Pocket was saying, you know, the questions in our minds. And then I'm looking back at the, you know, the miserable comforters. We are in this human flesh suit. And I think so many times, you know, those types of things, like these guys, their brains were going and they were in their flesh and they just were not, they didn't just stop. That's where, you know, like what Pocket says, we have to stop and really think, are what we about to say or how we're about to act, is it going to be beneficial? Because I think these guys, once they started spouting off, they just, you know, it was just coming out, you know, once you get in your flesh, you know, yeah, even with him saying all this stuff, what are they going to do? They can't really take it back. They've gone so far as to double down, like you said, and it's easy to do. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm looking at my own self, and if I'm being honest, I mean, I could many times show more compassion. I could many times, maybe the best thing is just to be quiet, you know,
right?
Be there and just be quiet. I mean, I always say, and I'm working on this myself in a huge way, is either be kind or just be quiet. You know,
right.
If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all, period. You
Absolutely.
know? So anyway, that just came to my mind. It's really, it's a difficult place as humans. You know, we want to say we're Christian brothers and sisters and we're going to act the right way. But man, you know.
It's, I will say this, Sister Lisa, and I'm sure we all here can attest to this. To be what Job requires as a friend, what Job needs as a friend, is easier said than done to do. It is easier said to, it really is. It's a difficult thing to do. Sister Candy.
When you were talking about the withering away and all that, I think it's Isaiah 27:11. It was like right there when he said it, and I was like, when its boughs are withered, they will be broken off. The woman come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he who made them will not have mercy on them, and he who formed them will show them no favor. So, again, to me, that's what Job's friends are doing